Welcome, everyone, to Feeding Does Matter. I'm Jaclyn Peterson. I am here with my co host, Dr. Hayley Estrom. So I'm actually really excited because we've got Heidi Van Der Molen today for our guest. And Heidi is Feeding Matters Senior Program Manager, overseeing all of our family support programs. Do you want to give us an overview of what some of the family support programs are at Feeding Matters?
Yes, so I'll start with the power of two. We have different matches. A lot of families just need that one-time phone call.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just to figure out, okay, well, what is the power of two? Like, is there a fee? Is it like, what are the requirements? And so we make it really easy for the family. They fill out a request for support. We ask them what their top concerns are, a little bit about their child, so that when family coaches see that this parent needs support, they can kind of look and say, oh yeah, I have that. I have an NG tube for my child, or we went through that, or,
Right.
we are familiar with this type of, feeder. And so it works out really well. We have a one-time phone call. We have a 3-month match or a 6-month match. And we
Hmm.
currently have 61 active coaches. And our coaches both, yeah, it's really exciting because
Yeah.
they're everywhere. We have Arizona coaches, Colorado, we have an Australian coach, a Canadian coach. So again, PFD and ARFID, it's not just in one city,
No,
state, country, it's everywhere.
it's
So
everywhere.
our coaches go through a training. We're updating our training to include ARFID because now so many families that are in need of support, their child has been diagnosed with ARFID.
Yeah.
Even though the part of the intake form is how long has your child been struggling with feeding? And so by the time
Mhm.
they reach us, they've been battling this for years. Their
Yeah.
child is now 7 or 8, but they knew something was not right since breastfeeding or maybe
Yeah.
bottle feeding. So again, the power of two is it's a sense of community. It's a sense of, wow, they really get it. Like, I don't have to explain myself that I fed my child when he was sleeping, or I had to whistle to get him to take his bottle, or I woke up with dread. These family
Yeah.
coaches, they offer emotional support. And I think part of, hearing another person's story, it can be like a ray of sunshine, where this
Yeah.
person is just devastated. They have been struggling feeding their child for 2 years, and now they get to talk to someone who gives them their confidence back or who says, hey, you're doing everything right. This is not your fault, because so much of it is guilt.
So that is our flagship family support program, Power of Two. What are some of the other programs that we have, Heidi?
Yeah, so I do want to mention we do have a support line for families. So if they're not sure where to go, they can always call the number or info@feedingmatters.org. And a lot of times families can't leave the house because they don't have anyone to feed their child, or the window of opportunity for them to be gone is very limited. So we offer virtual support groups. They're limited to 10 to 12 participants so that you don't have to constantly do introductions. You have a group of parents that know each other and they know their stories. We also have our family guide. We all know how complex PFD is and ARFID. The family guide is really a basic overview for families. So it goes over the 4 domains of PFD. It talks about tips and tricks from real families with lived experience. So that's available on our website. You can download it. And then we also have our family support program. We do know families pay incredible out of pocket expenses. So in 2019, we launched our family assistance program where we award $10,000 per year to families. The first few years, we had $2,500 awards for 4 families. Last year, we wanted to be able to support more families. So we had 10 $1,000 scholarships.
Well, Heidi, what are some of the things that you've seen families need the money for?
Last year, families really needed it for therapy. Insurance, if you have private insurance, they typically only cover like 25 visits per year. For the children who need intensive, a lot of times that is not covered, especially if you're talking about an inpatient, out of state intensive program. And we do have suggested items that they need covered, like specialty formula. New carpeting for when a child vomits and they have to get new carpet.
That's
That
some of the stuff that people don't realize that's
yeah,
impacting families' lives immensely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Basically anything regarding your child's feeding. The funds cannot be used for reimbursement. So if insurance only covers a portion of an intensive program, the families can utilize the funds to cover the rest, but it just cannot be used for reimbursement for something that's already taken place.
Thanks, Heidi. Thanks for diving into that a little bit more.
Yeah. So a recent program that we just launched and are super, super excited about is our Family First, Your Path, Your Progress, Your Community. This program was developed to really focus on the well-being of the parent, to teach them advocacy skills, to create a community. It's limited to 12 participants. And this course is over the course of 8 weeks. It is every other Monday or Wednesday for 75 minutes, and it has a facilitator. We have lesson plans. It is just so wonderful hearing the families connect with others and getting them to think about, what are my goals? Do they match up to my child's goals? And this is a way to really prepare them for what's next in their child's treatment. This program is just really amazing.
Yeah. Then you receive like a participant guide and educational info and materials as you kind of get guided through the course.
Mm-hmm. We try not to give the parents too much homework.
Yeah.
It's really encouraging that introspective of, what are my goals? What do I want from the child? And do they match up with the treatment that we're being told is necessary?
Yep. So we'll share more as this program develops and as it launches more publicly, but we're learning a lot in the pilot phase and iterating on it. And it's just been a dream of ours to really support the population of families that we know is just waiting and waiting for that answer. And so hopefully this can help support along that wait.
We actually even had some students, SLPs, join because they wanted to hear from families. They want to know how to better improve their practice. I can just see the wheels turning when they listen to the families talking about their child or a specific activity. It is specifically for families, but it's been nice having that other perspective because then in turn, we're kind of educating them on how to better support families.
I was going to say that's almost like a great educational experience, and how great for those students to start their journey of knowing and listening to families as experts. I think that that's a great way to start your career in feeding.
Yeah, and for them to be engaged in those conversations around congruency of goals between the caregivers and the child and the provider.
Yep.
And just one more thing about the Families First program. Can you say about like what informed the program?
I did talk to several psychologists, feeding specialists from different programs who were already involved with Feeding Matters or the Psych Summit. So listening to them talk, and then also conversations with families who were waiting to get into an intensive feeding program or who were in a break of episodic care, really forming what healthcare professionals are seeing that families need and what families are going through while they wait. We kind of developed a program based on that. And Jaclyn, feel free to add anything.
Yeah, and we also engaged an educational and curriculum designer to help support the course development. And in that instance, we used a lot of different modalities and other tools to build what it looked like to become a self-advocate, to help support empowerment. And then we also pulled in some of the trauma-informed work that we've done. We, in the last year, really revised all of our family support programs from a trauma-informed lens. And we had an expert come in and help us make some of those changes. And we felt good because they were really small changes. So overall, we were meeting a lot of the necessary steps to becoming trauma-informed. And so we made sure that that was incorporated into this program as well. And then because it was really support and an intervention for families, we also really selected our facilitator in a really intentional way. And she's a trauma-informed mental health professional as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And Jaclyn, thank you for bringing up trauma-informed care, because another thing we offer, going back to the power of two, for anyone who wants to give support, become a family coach, we have a webinar that was presented by Rose Phillips, who is our trauma-informed expert. We offer this webinar for free for family coaches or any volunteer who really wants to view it. Because when you're listening to someone talk about their child being in the emergency room because they're not growing, or maybe they're aspirating silently, when you're hearing those stories, it can flood your memory. It can put you right back into that trauma. So we really are very careful with our family coaches to give them the tools so that they're not being re-traumatized, and to help support the parent who is maybe living that trauma but can't see a way out of it.
Heidi, thank you so much for being with us. I think you mentioned the different resources on our website. Do you want to give an overview of some of the different things that people can find on feedingmatters.org?
Yeah. So we have our learning center, which hosts, several of our former conference presentations. They are free to families. Then we also have our resource library, which you can see podcasts, articles, books, products. I do want to mention that we have templates. So for any family who needs a letter of medical necessity, you can just print that template, type in the information, hand it to your doctor, done. We have food logs. So if you've been asked to keep track of what your child eats, what they poop, what's happening, you can just print that off, download it, print it, and use it. I also want to mention we have a Facebook group for our Power of Two families.
That's good.
And we have our provider directory. I think a lot of people find really helpful things on our blog as well. So definitely check out feedingmatters.org. Thank you so much for joining us to share more about all of our family support programs. You do an incredible job making sure our families are heard, their stories are shared in a way that honors their experiences, and really appreciate you being here today.